Good morning, everyone, and thank you all for joining us for our weekly press conference. It's wonderful to be here today with Engine 5 and Tower 2 of Louisville Fire that's hosting us here today, right here on Jefferson Street in downtown Louisville. And I want to thank Louisville Fire for what they do every day of the year in so many areas of working to keep our city safe. And we really appreciate everything they do, and thanks for hosting us today. We are really focused on safety, and one of the things we talk a lot about public safety, and part of that is ensuring that people are safe in every aspect of their life, particularly right here in downtown. And we're here today at Louisville Fire because it's a great place to talk about what's going on around us here in downtown. And one of the things that I'm focused on is reimagining downtown Louisville to create even more great events than we already have here, to improve our public spaces to even better than they already are, and to strengthen public safety so that year-round we can attract more visitors, attract more businesses, make more people want to live and work right here in the heart of our great city. We have huge plans for the reimagination and transformation of the Belvedere. Big plans to transform and rehabilitate the historic Louisville Gardens, to renovate and improve LUMED district right here into a world-class medical and education district, and so much more. At the same time as we're working to implement these transformative plans, we also need to focus on improving the basics, like making it easier to get around downtown and making it safer for drivers, for pedestrians, and for cyclists. And one of the ways that we can do that by focusing on the basics is by converting one-way streets to two-way streets. I think back to several years ago, before I was mayor, when I met a now good friend of mine, Jackie Green, who's here with us today. Jackie is an avid cyclist, doesn't own a car. Unfortunately, Jackie has had several accidents where he has been seriously injured as a result of cycling on the roads. And in those conversations with Jackie, they started my focus on street safety, on slowing traffic down, and converting one-way streets to two-way streets, particularly here in downtown Louisville. Thank you, Jackie, for your insight that you have shared with me over the years, and for being a staunch advocate for pedestrian, cycler, and driver safety. It's been very impactful. And beyond just Jackie's words, studies of traffic and pedestrian safety make it very clear that when we convert a one-way street to a two-way street, we improve safety. And that's because moving to two-way streets decreases the number of crashes and the severity of those crashes. Two-way streets are often easier and less confusing for drivers to navigate. Two-way streets are also safer for pedestrians, and they improve the amount of foot traffic for our local businesses, which is something that we are really focused on here in downtown Louisville. And that's why I'm proud to announce that Louisville Metro government and our public works teams have completed East Jefferson Street's two-way conversion project. This is a mile-long project between Brook and Baxter Avenue. It's a major thoroughfare that connects downtown to the Highlands and other neighborhoods beyond. The East Jefferson Street conversion is a $3.2 million project that began in March and is now wrapping up. It's going to improve safety on Jefferson Street, and it's just the beginning of the momentum that we have to convert more one-way to two-way streets here in downtown Louisville, something that I'm incredibly excited about. So to tell us a little bit more information about this project and some of the final steps as we make the conversion from one-way to two-way here on Jefferson Street, I'd like to introduce our Director of Louisville Metro Public Works, Jennifer Commissar-Kearns. Jennifer? Thanks.
Hey, good morning. Thank you, Mayor, and I want to start by thanking you and your administration for placing your trust in us in the ability to get these big projects done. I also want to thank our partners. We couldn't do it without you. HDR, our consulting team, Mac Construction, Delta Services, and Reynolds, as well as our Public Works Traffic Engineering team that are here with me today. So a little bit on how we got here. After the massive Ohio River Bridges project was completed in late 2016, Louisville Metro Public Works began the process of restoring several Metro-owned streets in downtown and surrounding neighborhoods to two-way, as recommended in multiple traffic studies. So portions of 3rd Street between Main and Market were transitioned back in 2018 and 19, and the two-way conversion of Jefferson Street from Brook Street to Baxter is a continuation of this phase 1 of this initiative, which encompasses downtown and the surrounding neighborhoods. So converting a one-way street to a two-way, as Mayor said, is safer. It's a more efficient way to manage traffic, improve access, and change the character of a street back to a neighborhood. So it's no longer a street that's just for pass-through, it's a destination. We're aware that adapting a new traffic pattern on a familiar road could take time. With that in mind, we want to reiterate the safety that should be experienced when we make these types of conversions. So traffic flows slower, safer on two-way streets, reducing the number of crashes and the crash severity. Improved circulation. Two-way streets promote more efficient circulation, more direct street routes to destinations. Increased visibility for businesses and organizations, increasing the amount of foot traffic to businesses because they're more visible and more accessible, and increased mobility, easier to navigate, cause less confusion for drivers, especially visitors, trying to access destinations, and two-way street networks often decrease the walking distance for pedestrians from parking facilities and bus stops. It's our responsibility as caretakers of our city's infrastructure to make safety a top priority for all road users. Delivering projects like this is how we also deliver on that commitment to fulfill that responsibility. So we're excited to announce that the conversion for East Jefferson Street from Brook to Baxter will open to two-way traffic on Sunday, October 6th. So here's the plan. Crews are going to work behind lane closures starting at Baxter Avenue and moving progressively west from one intersection to the next. The new signals will be uncovered and signs will be uncovered. Old signals and signs will be covered, deactivated, and the new signals will come on. Once the full length of the project has been completed, the lane closures will be removed, opening the roadway to eastbound traffic. So doing it on a Sunday, we're trying to minimize the amount of disruption and ensure the safety of our workers and the motorists. Users are encouraged to plan for Sunday morning to choose an alternative route or allow some additional travel time through the corridor. And we appreciate your patience and understanding as we work to improve the road. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, and thanks to our entire amazing Public Works team. There are a lot of projects going around the city, downtown, and every corner of our city. And so we thank you all so much for prioritizing projects like this that are making our roads safer for drivers, for pedestrians, for cyclists, for anyone in and around, while improving the quality of our neighborhoods. And there are so many benefits that come from two-way streets. And so this is just the first of many announcements that we will be having as more streets convert from one-way to two-way. Thank you guys so much, and we'll take questions on this at the end in a moment. Now for another fun topic on a different topic. As I've said, we are focused on lots of events. We just had a great event in our city with the 10th anniversary of Louder Than Life. Having events brings people together to enjoy with their family, friends, to meet new friends, to have new experiences. It's one of the reasons why Louisville is such an amazing, unique, vibrant place to be. And we want to give people more reasons to gather and to celebrate. It's certainly one of the things that we love about Louisville. We just had a great event last night at Iroquois Park. The third race in the Mayor-thon race series that we created this year. The Spooktacular. And that was a great 4-mile race through Iroquois Park. My legs are still a little bit sore today from the hills, but that's okay. It was a great night with 800 people gathering together to kick off the Jack-o'-lantern Spooktacular that's happening at Iroquois Park between now and the end of the month. One of the many amazing events that we have during the month of October. That's one that starts today for that great Halloween tradition. I would encourage everyone to get their tickets to support our parks, to support the Parks Alliance, to support Louisville Metro Parks, and to really have a unique experience out at Iroquois Park with the Jack-o'-lantern spectacular. But there's also other great Halloween celebrations with other great institutions. And there's nothing more fun than what goes on at the Louisville Zoo during the month of October. I know they've got a great. So are we doing the race again this year? Not the Through the Zoo? Yeah. Okay. Oh, that's in November. Okay, well, that's in November. The Through the Zoo is a great race, but there are many great events at the zoo that go on year-round. And as you can tell, I've got some of my colleagues and friends from the Louisville Zoo here today to talk about the 43rd edition of the Boo at the Zoo. It's for children of all ages, maybe geared towards 11 and younger, to wear their costumes and come out. There are special rides, attractions, and more. I know Rachel and I always enjoyed bringing our boys when they were younger to Boo at the Zoo. And so to tell you more about the 43rd edition of Boo at the Zoo, please join me in welcoming Steve Taylor.
Thank you, Mayor. Well, good morning. We are excited. October every year gets the staff so ready to reach out and give a great experience for a lot of kids in our community, and this is no exception. This is probably maybe the best year yet. So our 43rd year, we're really excited about it. We have lots of interesting things for kids to see, families to see as they walk around. We have all kinds of characters around every corner, superheroes, princesses, wizards, you name it, we have it. So we want to invite everybody to come out. It runs from Thursday through Sunday each week till the 27th of October. Anytime tickets can be had at any Myers location. They're our sponsor for the event, $11.50. Otherwise, it's $13.50 for non-members and $7 for members. So we're excited about the event. We also want to announce that we have sensory-friendly hours on October the 20th from 5 to 6:30. It's where we tone everything down a little bit. There's a limited number of tickets, so it's not overcrowded. The lights are a little less bright. The music's a little toned down. So for any of those people in our community that need to come out for the event, we're doing that. And then, thank you. And then we have allergy-friendly night again this year. That's Wednesday, October the 23rd. So no peanut type issues. We'll probably hand out more things like stickers and pencils, things that are probably less allergic. So come on out. We're having a great time. It started last weekend. It's this week, Thursday through Sunday, and then through the end of the month. So come on out.
Thanks, Steve. Sure. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Captain America. Thank you, Firefighter. And thank you, Superwoman. Thank you very much for joining us here today. I'll definitely see you guys out at Boo at the Zoo, another great event. You know, the Louisville Zoo had over 900,000 people go there last year. It is an amazing asset for our community. They've got great events like Boo at the Zoo and so much more. As you all know, we made an incredibly strong effort earlier this year to attract the Sundance Film Festival to our city. And we had great strides, and we had a great teamwork, and we got into the final 6 of cities across the country that were vying to be the next host of the Sundance Film Festival. Our team saw an opportunity to bring a great event, an iconic event, to our city. We created a partnership between the public and private sector, between the Metro Council, our administration, the state government, the governor, state legislative leaders, to bring people together in support of this important and impactful event. And while we didn't ultimately win that contest, I am proud of the partnership that we put together and the proposal that we put in place. And we are going to continue doing this, continue to be bold, continue to be aggressive, to attract important events, to attract impactful businesses, to our community every time we see an opportunity. I know there have been some media requests for the entirety of the Sundance proposal. Now that our participation in that process is complete, later this week, we will be publicly releasing the entirety of that proposal so that the entire community and that the entire world can see how Louisville is serious. We are open for business. We are a place that will invest in events. We are a city that will invest to attract good businesses and good events to our community that have a positive impact for our residents today and tomorrow. And so I'm excited for that to be released so the entire country and world can see how serious we are about continuing to build on the momentum that we have throughout our city. If there are any questions following that release, we'll be happy to answer those at that time. One other topic I want to close on today before opening questions involves a tragedy. Another unfortunate act of gun violence that was committed on Sunday night at PRP. First, want to thank JCPS and their police department, PRP's team, the JCPS administration, the great cooperation that existed between LMPD and the JCPS Police Department following that act of gun violence. I also want to thank JCPS that did a good job of preventing guns from getting into the stadium. But this act of gun violence that happened in the parking lot at PRP High School outside a football game just shows that more needs to continue to be done to get illegal guns off of our street, to get guns out of the wrong hands for when guns are used at the wrong time. It's one of the many reasons, it's just yet another example of why I continue to ask state legislative leaders to give cities like Louisville the local control to implement actions that we know will work here in Louisville to reduce the amount of gun violence, to get illegal guns off of the street. I will continue with this effort. I will continue advocating for this in the halls of the General Assembly in Frankfort, and I will continue advocating for sensible legislation in the halls of U.S. Congress as well. We need more help from our state and federal partners. At the same time, we are always looking for what we can do here at the local level, what we can do with the authority that we have to address and reduce the amount of gun violence we have plaguing this community. In this incident, the suspects in this case were wearing surgical masks and other face coverings to conceal their identity. This is not an isolated incident. LMPD officers see time and time again when assailants, when trigger pullers are wearing masks to conceal their identity. Shooters who are exploiting protections that were put in place during COVID. Well, since 1983, the city of Louisville has had an ordinance that has prohibited the wearing of masks in public. Since Sunday night, the chief and I have been talking about this ordinance, which has not been enforced as I'm aware. It's definitely not been enforced since I was mayor, and I think it has not been enforced since COVID. Well, it's local governments, it's all government's job to adapt and to find new tools at your disposal to improve public safety, to make our city safer, stronger, and healthier. I have an incredible sense of urgency of dealing with everything we can, using every tool we possibly can to address this gun violence epidemic that we have, balancing public health and public safety. And so the chief and LMPD and my administration, we are working right now on looking to reinforce this ordinance that has been on the books since 1983 in our city. We'll have more to say that over the coming days, but we as a city need to continue to use every tool in our toolbox to reduce the amount of violent crime in our city. My thoughts are with the entire PRP family, the entire JCPS family, all of PRP, and our entire city that continues to suffer from these senseless acts of gun violence. We can do more, we must do more, And every time my administration and I see an opportunity to do more, we will. Thank you all very much, and I'm happy to take any questions that you all have. We are going to begin enforcing this ordinance again. We think it needs some updating. For example, since it was passed in 1983, there were a couple of amendments, but it was all before COVID. We need to put some new language in there about exceptions. There are current exemptions in the ordinance right now. For example, if you're wearing, it bans the wearing of face coverings in public or public property to conceal your identity. If you're going to boo at the zoo, that is a current exemption. In the light of COVID and what we now know from a public health concerns, we believe that some other exemptions need to be made. So we will be talking about those in the coming days. But we are going to begin enforcing this ordinance.
Is it any face coverings, or is it face coverings for the purpose of security?
The ordinance is 130.01, wearing of masks, and no person shall, while we're covering any mask, whereby a substantial portion of the face is hidden or covered so as to conceal the identity of the wearer, enter, be, or appear in any place within Jefferson County. And then they go on to list some exemptions. So again, we believe there need to be some amendments to this ordinance that we'll be talking to our colleagues on Metro Council about immediately. But we also believe that this is another tool that we can use to prevent assailants who are purposely wearing face coverings to conceal their identity that are doing that in the commission of crimes. That must end, and we are going to work to end that.
There are people who still wear masks may not have a medical reason just because of COVID or whatever. What's the message?
The message is that we are going to take everyone's personal and public health very seriously. We will address that through amendments. But let's be clear. Gun violence is a public health emergency that we are dealing with in our city. Over 100 individuals already this year have been killed by gun violence. This is a public health emergency that we must deal with. And when there are tools that we have that we can use to reduce the amount of gun violence, it is critically important that we take every action to implement them. They are absolutely included in the conversation. I'm aware of where we are with respect to public health issues in the community, with respect to cases of COVID, what the impact of COVID is on individuals these days compared to what it was a long time ago. Those are all certainly things that we want to consider. We also want to consider the safety of our streets. And we also want to consider ensuring that people are not exploiting provisions to prevent people from getting COVID or other respiratory illnesses, that they're not exploiting loopholes to conceal their identities to make it easier to commit crimes or to get away with committing heinous acts of violence like the one that we saw at PRP on Sunday night. The penalty is a fine not more than $100 or imprisonment not to exceed 50 days or both.
Adding anything to any of the criminal ordinances so if you do commit a crime while wearing face masks, that's additional.
We are looking at all of that. That's why I want to be clear that we are using every tool in our toolbox. At the same time, we want to consult with Metro Council. There have been other cities that have taken action recently. We want to look for some other best practices so we can, when we provide amendments to Metro Council to consider, we want those to be fully and well thought through.
The city has a surplus in the budget, say, in the firehouses. There is that surplus that goes to fire department.
Well, yes, we do have firehouses that are in significant need of repair. In some cases, we need to build new firehouses because they are past their useful life. If you look at the long-term capital plan that we released with the passage of with our proposal of the last budget last year, we call for providing significant investments into firehouses over the coming years ahead. So that is definitely part of our plan. We're also looking for other state and federal resources to see if there are other public sources of funding. We absolutely need to improve several of our firehouses in particular that are long overdue for improvements or replacement. Maxwell?
That ordinance again?
It was a fine up to $100 or imprisonment not to exceed 50 days. Again, it's 130.01 is the current Metro Mask ordinance. I believe it's on Oak Street between Dixie Highway and 16th. Is that correct, Jennifer? Okay. We can take cover.
We're actually going to meet this evening at the California Community Center to discuss the two-way conversion of Oak Street between 16th and Dixie Highway. That is one that we would be able to do with local funds that were given to us in the capital budget, so we'll be able to do that one much more quickly. We also have the remainder of the phase one-way to two-way conversions that we're taking another look at. Some of the design was before COVID, so they might be over-designed based on current traffic volumes in certain areas. So we're taking another look at that this fall and spring to hopefully get those into construction by next fall.
And then Main Street is happening.
Main Street, the KYTC main remade is also on schedule to be converted, and I can't remember if it's the east side or the west side that is going first. They've changed it, but that is on their main remade website. You can find those details.
Okay. Any other questions? Oh. We'll be having more details in the coming days. I'm not going to get into the investigation right now with respect to the Sunday night, but LMPD is working very closely with JCPS Police Department on that case. We want and need to solve that, just like we want and need to solve every act of gun violence that happens in our community. Anything else? I'm sorry? Yeah, the question was about the hurricane and whether we're sending any first responders. Our emergency services department has been in close contact through the state with what needs are necessary. The last I heard was that a couple of dispatchers are going to be sent to North Carolina, but we have offered to send other first responders there to assist. But we can get you more information on that. But as I heard of as of yesterday, we are sending 2 dispatchers to help out to North Carolina. Thank you all very much. Have a good day.